Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5. We are going to present our research progress, which entitled Analysis the Use of Sexist Humor in Indonesian Students' Demonstration Orientation Posters. So first is introduction. The background of the research. As social beings, humans need to interact with other humans. This interaction can be realized through communication. In communicating, humans use language to be able to convey message, information, and emotions. Language is strongly influenced by culture. Language is also a product of a culture. According to Kunjaraningrat, language is an element of culture. Human ability in building culture traditions, creating an understanding of social phenomena that are expressed verbally and symbolically. This makes language also categorized as an element of culture. Different cultures have different ways of understanding a language. In a language, we recognize meaning as a way of understanding a conversation when communicating. Meaning is an understanding concept that is owned or contained in something linguistic sign. Meaning is divided into connotative meaning and denotative meaning. One of the uses of connotative meaning is in the variety of humor's language. The language of humor is believed by the public as a tool for conveying information, expressing feelings, criticism, and sympathy. Humor is also used for sexist purpose that use a particular gender or sexuality as an object, such as degrading, belittling, and marginalizing the position of that gender or sexuality. According to Sujatmiko, 1992, page 69 until 70, apart from the dualism of the function of humor, sometimes humor is used by certain participants by using sexuality as an object. Humor is intended to marginalize a particular gender, position, or sexuality. In communication events like this, language expression or assumptions are often used with behavior that leads to neglect, humiliation, and harassment. In this case, it can be assumed that humor is classified as sexist language. This can be called sexist jokes, which means that jokes are used to make fun or insult other people or gender in some cases, maybe in hurtful or unhurtful way.
Okay, next I will explain about the research problem question. This research is conducted based on the research problem questions that are formulated as 1. What are the sexist words that are used in Indonesian student demonstration oration posters? And 2. How did the representation of sexism in Indonesian student demonstration posters occur? Next. The aim of this study is to analyze the use of the sexist words in Indonesian students' demonstration oration posters and describe the form of representation of sexist humor used by students in posters of demonstration orientation or oration in Indonesia. We used 3 previous studies as the guideline for conducting this research. The first one is from Wulandari et al. 2016. entitled Sexist Language Used in the Jakarta Post. This research report were discussed about sexist language used in the media such as the Jakarta Post. The basic problems were the usage of sexist language and classify it into three markers. They were non-parallel, lexical asymmetry, and generic pronoun or word. And also that terms were related to the feminist stylistic in linguistic theory. Actually, the sexist language that found was indicated to the job title and occupation. Sexist language was mostly dominated by male. It can be seen from the data that found. This research purposes to find out the markers of sexist language and the relation between sexist language uses with feminists.
Next is previous studies 2. The researcher is Vidya dari SI in 2017. The title is Representasi Perempuan dalam kolom humor si Pauli di Banjarmasin Post from Journal of Informasi Kajian Ilmu Komunikasi. The study applies critical language elements at the micro level of Norman Fairclough critical discourse analysis to understand the problem of representation through language, semantic, syntax, and lexicon. The focus of this paper is the representation of women in the Banjarmasin Post humor column, Sipalui, whose stories are both about everyday life and household problems. On this topic, the problems that often arise are marital problems such as polygamy, divorce, and sexuality. In this column, female characters are only supporting actors and are therefore subordinated. Next. The results show that the representation of women in Sipauli was categorized into three, as widows, wives, and other types of women. Widows are depicted as having curvaceous bodies and always looking forward to marriage, although the representation emphasizes the type of flirtatious widows that men adore. The wife is represented as the sexual object of her husband. Meanwhile, other types of women, such as mother-in-law, are chatty, and single women are aggressive. Next. From the previous studies 3, the researchers are Hermawan et al. In 2017. The title is Bahasa Tubuh dan Paradigma Patriarki dalam Humor Kontemporer Indonesia from Journal of Pendidikan Bahasa dan Sastra. The study conducted by Hermawan et al. In 2017 aim is to analyze the construction of women in Indonesian humor that appears through the WhatsApp conversation application. This analysis was conducted based on the theory of Crawford 2003 and Sen in 2012 regarding gender relations, linguistics, and humor. In this research, what is studied is the use of indexial and polysemous meanings in humorous stories in constructing women. This study finds that the humor that develops in the WhatsApp conversation application media tends to be sexist by perpetuating patriarchal values such as describing women as passive and resigned figures.
So in this study, the data shows that most of the humor uses figurative polysemy language, especially in describing sexual activity. In this case, women are always associated with inanimate objects, such as to describe sexual activity and female genitalia. The indexical meaning of the language used is always based on the paradigm and interests of men, which are in line with patriarchal values. This ultimately leads to symbolic violence against women. The literature review on this study, we use two theories, which are anthropolinguistic theory and language and gender theory. Anthropolinguistic theory approaches language from the perspective of anthropology, culture, and language in order to discover the meaning within its use by Nurkanza et al. 2021. Furthermore, according to Sibarani 2012, page 133, a theory of cultural values includes cultural values such as welfare, hard work, discipline, education, health, cooperation, gender management, cultural preservation and creativity, environmental care, peace, politeness, honesty, social solidarity, and gratitude. Meanwhile, in language and gender theory, there are close relationships between both of them. How men and women use language are different due to the structure of the language. The people of the community are the norms of the society who use the language. In this case, gender is used to catch and explain the phenomena about culture, social complex, and psychology that attach to sex or gender by Timothy et al. in 2011. The methodology, the data resource, the sexist humor in oration poster in Indonesia students demonstration. And the data sought in this study is the words or phrases that indicate the sexist language in it. The data analysis was conducted based on the theories from many previous studies that are relevant topics to this research. The research method we use descriptive qualitative. This research used a qualitative research method since the data is shown or represented in the word form of the utterances rather than the numerical data forms. This kind of research method is applied because the description of utterances of sexist words is needed. The description and explanation regarding the related findings are created based on the theories related to this topic. So that's all our presentation, and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.